Hello, everyone. Welcome. If you're a woman over 40 years old and you've ever thought to yourself, I should be further along than this when it comes to my retirement, you are not alone. What most people don't realize is that women often retire with significantly less money. And it's not because of one bad decision, it's because of a series of patterns over time. In this video, I'm going to break down the real reason why women are behind, how Social Security plays a role in this, and what you can do, practical steps to take control of your retirement plan. So, welcome in the live. My name is Lamecca. I'm a registered Social Security analyst as well as a financial professional. So, we're going to get into it. The first reason that women feel behind when it comes to retirement is that in general, we receive lower pay than men. Stats show that 80 to 82 cents for every dollar that a man earns, a woman earns. So every time a man gets a dollar, women receive only 80 to 82 cents of that dollar. So that's a huge discrepancy. It is not equal. We are typically paid less. And as a result of us being paid less, that means over our lifetime, when it comes to the income that we're earning, we earn approximately $400 to $500,000 less. So now you take what started off as how much we're earning per hour and now translate that to how it impacts us for a lifetime. It's almost $500,000. Not to mention that historically, men do not get promoted as often as women do. That impacts the fact that we get paid less over time. Also, couple that with a lot of times women are performing service jobs instead of having C suite positions like a CEO or a COO or a CFO. And so these are reasons why we fall into this trap. Now, how this fits into Social Security is if we're earning less, Social Security is calculated by your highest 35 years of earnings. So if you're earning less, then that means your Social Security benefit is also going to be less. And so these are things we need to consider and be aware of because it truly impacts us. So that's the first one, lower pay over time. The second challenge that women face over 50 years old when it comes to retirement planning is that for the most part, women take more time out away from the workforce. And there are many reasons why we might do this. One is typically when there's an emergency in the family, when someone needs to be cared for, typically a woman is going to do it, right? So imagine your family member, maybe it's a close relative, maybe it's your mother or your grandmother who is now ill, and you choose to stop working for a season to take care of them. That means you're no longer getting income during that time. Another reason why women may not be in the workforce is because they are taking care of their children. I don't have children, but I couldn't imagine how challenging it might be to be pregnant, give birth, and then have to go to work in a couple weeks. I would not want to do that. And so some women choose to stay home and raise their children. And that time away from working is reducing our income. Now, how does this relate to Social Security? So, I mentioned earlier that your highest 35 years is what's calculated as far as your Social Security benefit. So the years that you're not working, they're going to show up as zeros. And those zeros will get averaged in and considered for your Social Security income. And so, again, these are things we need to be aware of so that we're not feeling behind and not knowing why. These are the reasons. We're going to move on to reason number 3. So, the third reason is really like a double-edged sword because it has to do with the fact that many women have student loan debt. Why? Because we all were told go to school, get good grades, and get a good job. And depending on where you live, you might need more than one job. And you've pursued your bachelor's degree, your master's degree, your PhD. You might have a couple PhDs, and all that time that you're spending in higher education, it is costing you money unless you're self-funding or getting a scholarship. And so you walk away having earned the degree because you think it's going to give you more income when you land that dream job. But you end up coming to a position where now you have crazy student debt that you owe. And this is something that we really have to consider because 2/3 of all student loan debt in the United States is owned by women because we're going to school and we're getting those degrees and we're getting that education because we're ambitious and we want to excel. But that means that now you're spending years paying back that student loan debt when you could have been using that money to go towards your retirement planning. And so this ongoing payment to pay off these student loans is pulling away from the money that you could be using to invest. Okay. And also, it impacts how your money is able to compound. Compounding is one of the wonderful things that we have access to. Compound interest is amazing. And if we're not being able to let that money grow over time because we're paying student loans, that is going to negatively impact us as women. The third reason is that we tend to be a bit more conservative when it comes to our financial decisions. So let's talk about why that is the case. Part of it is that, we typically hold our money in cash versus in growth investments. So when I sit down with my clients and if I compare the men versus the women, a lot of times women have their money sitting in a bank, whether it be a check-in or a savings account. Not often do they have their money, even if it's in cash, in a high yield savings account. So that's already impacting you. And a lot of times they don't have investment portfolios. They don't have the Fidelity account. They're not automatically sending money over to purchase stocks for them on a consistent basis. And so not being engaged in those activities is going to impact you because your money is sitting stagnant. And when you consider inflation, yeah, you might have $100,000 sitting in your bank account, but every day it's sitting there, it's losing value because you can't buy as many things as you could as time goes on. And when our money is not invested in the market, especially in our younger years, we miss out on that long-term wealth growth potential. And this increase in reliance on the cash bucket causes us to have limited options when it comes to what we can withdraw in retirement. And a lot of women are solely relying on Social Security. If you're fortunate, you might get a pension from the job that you're a part of, but that isn't the case for everyone. And so we have to be mindful about, well, why am I making these conservative financial decisions? Why is that the case? And a lot of times it's because we just weren't at the table when these money conversations were happening. And I want to speak to my married couples now, the women in the married couple. Hear me well. You need to be aware of what's going on with the money in your household. Please, I beg you, know all the accounts that you have. Know the passwords for all of the accounts that you have. Understand how the money is being allocated in those accounts. Don't leave it all to your husband to take care of, because God forbid something happens to him and he gets ill or he passes away. You're going to be left feeling lost. So have the conversations now. Understand what's going on with the money. And I'll go a step further. Teach your young girls about these concepts as you learn them, so that having conversations about money is a regular occurrence in your household. So I'm going to go on to number 5. In general, women don't feel as confident about making financial decisions and the overall topic of financial literacy. 21% of Americans score low in financial literacy exams versus only 15% of men. And 73% of women feel confident about retirement decisions versus 84% of men. So this insecurity that we have is caused by many reasons. And some of which I stated earlier is that growing up, we weren't part of the money conversations. But another reason is because sometimes we just get confused by the finance jargon that's thrown around. And we feel intimidated about asking questions and asking people to clarify, well, what do you mean by a rate of return? What do you mean by cash flow? What do you mean by saying I should have a trust? I thought a will was enough, right? Being confident to ask questions. The more questions you ask and the more clarity you have, the more confidence you will have in making these retirement decisions. Another factor is sometimes it's hard to find someone that you trust to have these money conversations with. A lot of times in married couples, the husband chooses the financial professional that the couple works with. And the statistics are really high. When the man passes away, the woman goes to find someone else, and she would really love to speak to another woman about her finances. So we need to be confident about the decisions we make, and that comes from asking the right questions so we can have clarity. And sometimes we're just afraid that we're not going to make the right decision, whatever that means. The only way to get around that is to really analyze your situation. And I know it could feel overwhelming, but when you work with someone who has that mindset and approach like me, we're going to work on this together. I'm going to help you see where you are clearly. I'm going to ask you where you want to go. And then we're going to come up with a plan to make that happen together. We're going to work on it together. Okay. And sometimes we feel a little insecure because we know that the decisions that we make, they're going to have long-term consequences. And that could be hard for us to face. So the lack of understanding, the lack of asking questions, fear of making the wrong decision, and understanding the long-term consequences that our decisions have can cause us to delay choosing or not choosing at all. And so I'm going to recap these 5 reasons because they're extremely important. The 5 reasons why women over 50 retire with less is because we're paid less than men in general. We spend more time out of the workforce. We have more student loan debt. we often make more conservative financial decisions, and we have a lower confidence level when it comes to financial literacy and money conversations. Let me know which one of these resonates with you in the chat. I would love to interact with you. So just drop in the chat and let me know how you're feeling about your own retirement plan and which one of these 5 reasons you resonate with. So, I'm going to come and give you some solutions. I'm not going to just drop all the heaviness on you and leave you hanging. There are some things that you can do now, some practical steps that you can take to be prepared for your retirement season because it's coming. So the very first thing I want to encourage you to do, if you can do it today if you haven't done it yet. Go and check and see what is your estimated Social Security amount that you're going to be receiving. How do you do it? You're going to go online to the ssa.gov website. If you haven't already, create your account. When you create your account, you're going to see, literally, it's the first screen that pops off, an estimation of how much you're going to receive if you claim early, if you claim at your full retirement age, and if you claim at 70 years old. Okay? So go find out what that is. Specifically, I want you to find out how much you're going to get from Social Security, because that is a guaranteed constant stream of income that increases with cost of living, COLA adjustments, right? So find out what that number is for you. And this is going to help you to kind of see, okay, what is my baseline? What is the amount that I can count on coming into my household? So that's action item number 1 for you. Okay. And along the same lines of that, once you find out how much you're going to get from Social Security, I need you to look at every single account that you have and see how much you have saved so far. So that means checking your savings accounts, your checking account. If you have a CD, check and see what's in there. If you have an investment account that you set up on your own, like with Fidelity or, one of those accounts, go check it, see what the balance is. If you have a retirement account with your job, go check it, see where it's at, see how it's grown. Okay. If you have an old retirement account that you didn't do anything with yet, go check that one too from a job, right? Like if you switch careers, check all your retirement accounts. If you created your own retirement account, which is the traditional IRA, go check that one too. Check how much is in your Roth IRA if you got one of those. If you have permanent life insurance, my friend, go check and see what's in your cash value bucket. Go check. I want you to do inventory and see how much money you have saved today. Okay. And that is going to help you see where all of your income sources are coming from. Now, if you're a business owner, okay, you got some side gigs going on, you can count that as well. All right. Now, so that was 1. Review your Social Security that's going to come in, as well as how much savings you have so far. The second thing I'm going to challenge you to do today is to figure out how much money you're going to need in retirement. Okay. So that means I need you to be realistic about how much money you're going to need every single month, not to live comfortably. We're not living comfortably in retirement. To live your desired lifestyle. So here's some things you need to consider. You need to consider cost of living, right? Where you're actually staying. If you own a home, if you are renting, what are you paying for the roof over your head? How much is that? Utilities. Okay. Calculate that. You need to also determine if you have any ongoing out-of-pocket medical expenses. Consider that as well. If you like to travel, include in how often you want to travel and how much you're going to need to have available for those travel trips. Okay. If you have a generous heart and you like to give and you don't want to feel like, oh, I can't give as much as I used to because I'm in retirement now, allot that in too. You have birthdays, baby showers, things that you know you're going to be engaging in during your retirement season. Add that in. Add in entertainment, right? If you plan on dining out, add that in. If you're going to be active, going to the gym, add that in, right? I want you to be very, very specific. How much money do you need to live your desired lifestyle in retirement? Okay? Figure it out. And then the third thing you're going to do, which is your action item for today, is to identify the gap and create a plan. All right. So when I say identify the gap, okay, you know how much you have coming to you in Social Security, and you've assessed your savings accounts, whether it be your regular checking and savings as well as your retirement accounts. You've gotten all that. All right. So let's say that comes out to, I'm not going to throw out a number. You calculate it, it's individual for you. Figure that out. And then you're going to figure out how much you need for retirement. Okay. Actually, I will. I'll give you an example. So let's say you have a need every single month of $4,000 for you to live the desired lifestyle you want in retirement. $4,000. And you know you're going to get about $2,000 in Social Security. So there's another $2,000 that you got to decide, is it going to come from your savings? Is it going to come from retirement? Where's that money going to come from? Okay. And then you need to create a plan, because it's not just knowing that. Then you need to also consider taxes and when you're going to withdraw from those specific accounts. And you need to really map this out. Now, the beautiful thing about it is that you don't need to do this alone. This is what I specialize in. I help my clients figure out what they have currently, where they want to go, and then we come up with a plan together. So I'm going to give you a concrete example of how I can help you specifically with making sure that you don't run out of money in your retirement. Okay. So I just recently met with a potential client, and she's so sweet. I'm not going to say her name because she might be watching this video a little bit later on. And so she said, you know what? I want my life to be very simple. I just want like $3,000 a month. I'll be fine with that. Okay, great. We looked at some retirement accounts that she has access to. And one of the recommendations I'm going to make for her is for her to put some of that money into a fixed indexed annuity. Why? Because it provides you with guaranteed income. Now, I know some of y'all hear that and you freak out. You hear the word annuity. Just think of it as a pension you set up on your own. It's money that you put away and you can have access to it for your lifetime. The beautiful thing about it is that it's not exposed to the stock market. You don't have to worry about your money fluctuating on a roller coaster like some people are doing right now, because the market is a little crazy right now. You don't have to worry about that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link to how you can connect with me, and we can go through a one-on-one session together where I will walk you through how to actually begin planning for your retirement, because you don't have to do this alone. I am here to assist you, and this is what I specialize in. So just give me 1 sec and I will drop that link in the chat for you. All right, here we go. Here we go. If you have any questions for me, feel free to drop them in the chat as well. I would love to answer your questions, and let me know what stage you're at currently in your season of planning for retirement. How far away are you? I would love to know just kind of, where you're at in that case. All right. So here's the link, so that if you would like to schedule a session with me, feel free. We'll just hop on Zoom, and, we will figure out what is a good fit for you as far as making sure that your retirement plan is all squared away. All right. So if there are no questions for me, let's see what we got here. Any questions? Okay. Okay. I don't think there are any questions. So I hope that you found value from today. This is a topic that I love. I love being able to help people really have confidence when it comes to planning for retirement. There's so many moving parts. I'm a former math teacher, and I know for sure that you all did not learn about personal finances in school. And how do I know? Because I taught state curriculum and it did not really include personal finances in the conversation. And so I know that this is the area that we're lacking. But the good thing for you is that you have access to financial professionals that can help you. And here's some things I want you to look out for. Whoever you work with, if you decide to work with me or someone else, here's some things that you need to look out for. The financial professional you choose to help you with, if they don't ask you about your goals, be leery. If they don't ask you about where you see yourself in the future and really get a good sense of that for you, be leery. If they don't assess your situation, meaning if they don't gather data from you, be wary, right? You want to make sure they know your income, your expenses, the accounts you have, your goals. Like it's like a doctor. When you go see a new doctor, they need to do an assessment. So that financial professional needs to do the same thing for you. Okay. Also, they need to be able to provide you with options. If you work with a financial professional and they only have one solution, be wary, because that means they're trying to implement a one size fits all model. And that doesn't work because you have a very unique situation and you need to make sure that the person you're working with is going to take the time to sit down with you, hear your story, and pull out the best solution for you from their repertoire. Okay. So, with that said, I will see you guys on the next live. Remember, the link is in the chat of this live if you want to book a session with me. I would love to connect with you and have an amazing evening. Bye, everyone.